I'm Natalie Glasson from the Sacred School of OmNa. This week's message is from Mary Magdalene, and it's entitled The Truth of Mary Magdalene's Journey Updated. It was originally channeled on the 5th of August 2016 and has been updated on the 3rd of August 2018. This message is channeled through myself, Natalie Glasson. I have now visited twice the Grotto of Sainte Baume, which is a cave in the south of France, where it is said that Mary Magdalene spent much of her time after the crucifixion, resurrection, and ascension of Jesus. The cave is on the side of a mountain, and it takes about 45 minutes steep walk through glorious and luscious woodland to reach this sacred place. Before entering the cave, I began to communicate with Mary Magdalene to discover the purpose of my visit and why I was being guided to visit the grotto. After my second visit, I received new and updated wisdom from Mary Magdalene, which I felt needed to be shared once more with anyone who was willing to receive. Mary Magdalene. It is an honor to connect with you, and I shower you in the vibrations of the divine goddess and goddess Isis. Even as a child, I wore the symbol of the golden serpent, a symbol of being initiated into the teachings of the divine feminine and goddess Isis. I was and remain a high priestess of the goddess Isis order, dedicated to the power, magic, and love of the purest form of the sacred goddess. While we honored and embodied the cosmic goddess, we also cultivated the balance of the divine masculine and divine feminine within our beings, recognizing this sacred union as our truth and creative power. I, Mary Magdalene, was initiated into the Magdalenes, which furthered my spiritual wisdom, development, and harnessed my understanding and experience of the Christ consciousness as an active healing and creative energy of the universe of the Creator. Each stage of my childhood was dedicated to my union with the Creator and discovering how I may be of service by following the murmurs of guidance within me. It was my training which paved my way to my union with Jesus, as well as preparing me to continue the teachings shared with both of us after his ascension. The teachings Jesus shared were born from love and given in love. They represented the union of the masculine and feminine vibrations of the Creator in harmony and oneness, awakening the same within all. His teachings, drawn from the knowledge we had gained, understood, and discovered through our childhood. And yet, Jesus had a way of sharing the energies and wisdom we were accustomed to in a new light, as if rebirthing and advancing the wisdom so all could understand and embody. He was truly being divinely inspired. He enabled all to access purer, higher vibrations of light. During the times when Jesus shared his teachings, I would also receive the same download of energy and inspiration. As a representative of the Divine Feminine, I acted as an anchor, grounding the sacred energy into the earth and consciousness of humanity. It was after the Ascension of Jesus that I was guided to continue to share with others the detailed teachings and healing practices I had received. One of my greatest purposes at that time was to share my wisdom with the goddess Isis order, Magdalenes and Christ followers further afield, in the neighboring countries and beyond. We knew we had friends far and wide who we had not yet met, and that they were waiting to receive the energy and wisdom Jesus and our community had anchored. My mission was to preserve the teachings for generations to come. The divine directions and tasks given to me by the Creator seemed endless at that time. I was to develop the presence of the Goddess and remind many of the merge of the Divine Masculine and Divine Feminine within them, to nurture the world, as well as healing some devastation which occurred in humanity due to misunderstanding when Jesus left the earth. I was to distribute energy codes, templates, and healing, as well as physical scrolls, objects, tools, and crystals of spiritual value in certain sacred places across the world. My purpose was to support the preservation and continuation of the healing and awakening Jesus had begun. I didn't do this alone, as most of our sacred community who enveloped Jesus and I through his ascension traveled with me, men, women, children, and even some of our animals. Jesus himself was there at times, in his energy body, offering wisdom and insights to encourage us. I had another very beautiful role, a role which every day healed my heartbreak of physically losing Jesus, even though I understood the truth of the matter. This role encouraged me to be determined to achieve the tasks given to me by the Divine Creator, while also filling my days with fun, love, and laughter. In my opinion, it is the most sacred role of a woman. I was given the gift of being a mother. Sarah was the creation of the Divine Creator, to embody my energies as Mary Magdalene and Jesus' sacred vibrations. She really was the image of our union in more ways than seemed possible. A sacred gift to the earth and me. She carried many names: the golden chalice, the Holy Grail, the Grail treasure, the golden serpent, and the union of the divine in manifestation, to name a few. Sarah was already born when Jesus moved through the crucifixion and resurrection initiations. As I began my travels, I was pregnant with our second child, who was to be born in France and named Maya. Our purpose when arriving in the south of France was to begin the process of distributing the many sacred energetic and physical scrolls, tools and templates which had been placed in our possession. These were to be given to specific people and hidden in certain places to preserve their safety. We were greeted and supported by the members of the goddess Isis temple and order dedicated to the divine feminine. These women and men of such profound inner beauty supported our mission, as well as creating a sanctuary for Maya to be born into the light of the divine goddess. Later, the Isis order led us to a space of safety near their temple. Our shelter was a cave in the south of France, known now as the Grotto of Sainte Baume. This shelter was needed to ensure the safety of Sarah and Maya, both energetically and physically. We also wished to educate them in our teachings as they would distribute in their adult years what we had begun with Jesus. There was a need for us to be sheltered away from the outside world, as Sarah was immensely sensitive. She held and radiated such pure Christ consciousness, and yet as a child could easily absorb the energies others emanated. If these energies were of a lower vibration, Sarah would become sick very quickly. She needed to be constantly surrounded by the light and those who could master their thoughts and clear their energies. This way she could learn to protect herself while sharing the purity within her being. There were also those who had heard of Sarah and Maya and wished to sabotage our work and mission of distributing the light and love of the Creator. Natalie. During my time in the cave, the presence of Mary Magdalene was very strong, even though this area, like a church now, had been overseen for many years by monks. The divine feminine vibration still remained within its energy. As Mary Magdalene appeared in my third eye before me, it was Sarah whom she pushed forth to me. Sarah seemed to me to be about 12 years old when Mary Magdalene was bringing her into my awareness. Mary Magdalene wanted Sarah to share some of her insights into her life in the cave. I had never consciously met Sarah before, so it was a new experience for me. Sarah shared some visions with me, the first being a procession of women, men, and children dressed in white, wearing the mark of the golden serpent, walking up through the woodland to the cave. Sarah told me that they came to visit them in the cave every day, bringing food and anything they needed. She said she enjoyed their visits as some of the initiates of the goddess Isis temple were of a similar age to her or even younger, so she had time to talk and play with them before the daily ceremony led by Mary Magdalene. She told me how she loved running through the woodland with her friends and sister. Like her, they did not really know what the outside world was like. However, they enjoyed sharing stories of their inner plane experiences. Sarah shared that she also enjoyed the daily ceremony held within the cave, as it allowed her to see her mother at work, the power, grace, and wisdom she exuded. During their stay at the cave, the Isis order would conduct all their ceremonies and initiations within the cave. The second vision Sarah shared with me was of herself and Maya during night time, embraced in their mother's arms within the cave, as Mary Magdalene shared her memories of Jesus. She would ask her mother to share everything she knew about her father, from his birth to his ascension. Sarah said she loved these times the most, as sometimes in those intimate moments of sharing with her mother and sister, her father would appear as an energetic form in the cave to share some time with them. Sarah told me that she enjoyed living in the cave as she had everything she needed, and they moved from the physical planes to the inner planes of the Creator's universe very easily. I believe Mary Magdalene's sharing of Jesus' lifetime with Sarah and Maya was her way of guiding her daughters through their initiations and preparing them for their adult life. Mary Magdalene. As Sarah reached the age of 15 years old, I knew it was time to support Sarah in the next stage of her life. I had known from the moment we arrived at the cave that we would leave the safety of the cave and travel to a sacred Druid community in England when Sarah became of age. Our destination is known now as Glastonbury. I knew her purpose was to marry and remain with the Druid community. This made our journey to England exciting, as I knew a new life awaited Sarah, while also being heartbreaking, as I knew I would eventually, once she was settled and we had traveled some of the area, be making the journey back to France without her. It was not long before Sarah was in love and married to a soul who was deeply familiar to her, a soul she had journeyed with many lifetimes together. They had many children and a very blissful life. Sarah took on the role of sharing the teachings of love passed down to her from her father and myself. Her healing powers were breathtakingly beautiful. Sarah spent around 50 years in Glastonbury. At the age of 68, she journeyed to Scotland, where she lived for the remainder of her life, passing over when she was nearly 100 years old. I, Mary Magdalene, continued to care for Maya while in the Druid community in England until she became of age. Maya was such a strong, fiery character. She had the ability to gift the most advanced spiritual teachings to another in the simplest way, so they would understand completely, experiencing beautiful inner transitions. She had a lovely way of communicating with people and was almost fearless in her approach to life and ascension. She was determined and continued the work her father had begun. I, Mary Magdalene, returned to the south of France and lived out my days within the temple of the goddess Isis, with the Isis order, who had cared for Sarah, Maya, and I for many years. I no longer needed to live in the cave to protect my daughters and ensure their safety. So I enjoyed my time surrounded by beautiful souls of the temple. I visited the cave now and then when I felt that Jesus wanted to appear to me and share some time with me. I traveled a little around France and Europe. However, I had completed my tasks given to me by the Divine Creator, so I was able to spend much time in peace and solitude, sometimes reliving my memories, other times in deep communion with the Creator. I ascended, leaving my body behind when I was over the age of 100, and entered into an energetic body which allowed me to more easily move between the earthly and spiritual planes. I wanted to share the truth of my journey after the Ascension of Jesus, so we may connect on a deeper level, and so you may further access the truth of my being and soul. I am Mary Magdalene. Thank you.